I am back to finish uploading the rest of these chapters. I want to get them all uploaded and scheduled by the end of tonight. So that's the goal. I've got my waters, waters plural, and I'm ready to go. Alrighty. And I'll put some music on. And we'll get into it. Episode 22, 22, episode 22, in the garden, in the garden. In the garden, in the garden, schedule 3 a.m. Schedule. Always happen and always will. as if he was going to go back and finish strangling the Marquise's son when Rhea grabbed onto his arm. It is when the other does something for you with no thought of themselves. It's when being with them isn't a chore or responsibility, but a pleasure, and one being begins to wonder how it would it feel if you never left their side. I wonder what it would be like to stay by his side. It's time to take a chance. Lordy, thank you for coming to my rescue. 57. And he raised her. What he had done. And she raised her, putting a finger to his lips. Her cheeks reddening, trying not to think about how soft they were against her. Fingertips. Fingertip. I'd be willing to take a chance. What I'm trying to say. Will you court me, Lord Easton? Please call me Easton. Schedule for later. August 13th. 3 a.m. schedule. Three. 23. So 23. 23. Episode 23. And this is Easton point of view. Recording. Recording. Hello. Hoping to finish up this uploading schedule so that I can get back to my work in progress. Hope you guys are having a good evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. And we have recording and point of view Easton. Recording, point of view Easton. And we schedule it 14th, 3 a.m. Schedule. He's been so scared to fall in love all his life. It wasn't that he didn't have an excellent example from his grandparents how a bond between a mind-reading spark, their loved one, could be beautiful. It was a fear of what if. What if he fell for someone that would exploit his spark? What if he who would exploit his spark? What if he didn't read enough of their thoughts to know they wouldn't harm him? What if he'd forever have to check to see if they cared for him, and not what he could do? Hello, everyone. Those fears diminished when he met Rhea. It wasn't that they were no longer valid. It was more like he had other things preoccupying his mind rather than focusing on fear. And even as he began to hear more of her thoughts as they courted, as if something had been unlocked, as if he was her new focus, the fear did not return. Telling of her lady being in danger. Easton. Her voice called to him, and he shook his head from his thoughts, looking upon the lady that was becoming interwoven into the fabric of his heart. They had decided to take the long way home, wishing to spend more time with each other before they had to get back to their day-to-day lives. I don't want to leave him. Met again in the capital not long after they had parted for the royal wedding, arriving together arm in arm. That sounds okay. Easton thought his sister might just squeal in delight when they mentioned they were at last courting officially. When the wedding feast arrived, they sat by each other, their hands held together beneath the table. Rhea looked upon him with a soft smile. He's holding Rhea. He couldn't help his responding grin at hearing her thought where her thoughts lay. It was the little princess Francia, Francia, who drew Easton and Rhea from the crowds out into the hallways, trailed after her as they reached the private. They're only wishing to make too hard for the princess. To find them, they stepped into to hear the telltale the click of the lock in place. In the low light of the space, could barely make out how her cheeks flushed. Do you think your sister put her up to it? I wouldn't put it past Althea. Even on her wedding, she still was against his dress. The knights no doubt know where to find us. Hopefully. Lord Easton, there's a messenger. Lady. Oh, I put Lady Easton. Oops. Lady Ithian. There's a messenger here for you. Oliver's fingertips to graze hers. He followed her to the drawing room where the messenger waited. No sooner did Rhea open the letter than she fell and fell upon a chair, a gasp coming from her lips. What is it? Her hand with the letter dropped in her lap as if she had no energy left. My father, the parent he was attacked, burned, and an unidentified crew member caused the fire. Father is now blind. Each there, yes. And Easton, he felt himself at a loss, so involved in the bubble of happiness, of warmth of their courting, he'd forgotten He'd forgotten about his own goals. Now it seemed the reality of his situation came to the forefront. He had a decision to make. On the people she loved and those they took care of. He had once wished to get a position that he could use his gift far away from court, perhaps an ambassador of sort. But when he met Rhea, his ambition went to the back of his mind. Both new circumstances, it came back. He could still have all he'd dreamed of. Cassius, no doubt, could arrange a position for him, but to live such a life, it would no doubt be lonely. No Rhea by his side, his chest ached with the possibility. No, he couldn't imagine a life without her. He would just need to create a new. He would need. He would just need to create new dreams with her by his side. August 14th. 3 a.m. Next up, what do we have? 24. Episode 24. Episode 24. The Decision. The Decision. The Decision. 3 a.m. schedule. Feel so much pain. she were to walk down her own flower path, she would have to put forth the effort, and she could not give up Easton now. I've thought long about you leaving my side, and I've decided I cannot bear the thought of it. I will return to the barony with you. I will stay by your side. It matters not. Gemmed and given you anything. Instruction began. Even stronger than I was. Detailed program would be built around the water features of the floating isle. Seamless water features would be prevalent through the barony for ease of summoning. See one spark. Also helps the reinforce their homes. And can she help? The Crown Princess is busy with court. I do not know when she will be able to visit. The damage might already be permanent by then. Oh, right. They return to their seats. I haven't even thought of that. Perhaps in a week I could come in every other weekend, she sighed, looking back at her paperwork. She supposed her path was changing. The Baron would be passing the title to her shortly. The transfer ceremony hadn't been conducted yet, since so much work had to be done. The flower path had always been meant she had always meant for the flower path to be temporary. Something to make her happy and successful and keep her busy. Glancing up at her friends and business partners, I believe it's time I bequeath my head hostess position to another. Who? She smiled at Dana, the greatest socialite I know. Her friends looked at her with bittersweet expressions. Oh, don't look at me don't look at me with such sad faces. It's not as if you won't see me again. After all, the Iffy and Barony will be supplying the secret recipes for the specials at the Flower Path, a silent partner, if you like. It is simply a chapter of my life that is now ending. It is time for me to go forward with the new. It was as she looked into her Easton's eyes that she couldn't help but think, yes, there are some things worth sacrificing for. Yes, there are some things worth sacrificing for. Save, publish, schedule later, and August 15th at 3 a.m. Schedule. I think I only have one more chapter left. Woo! Done a lot today. Episode 25. Schedule. 16th, 3 a.m. Schedule. And let's see. A new chapter. And it's an Easton point of view. Easton Iris. A new chapter. Point of view Easton. A new chapter. Point of view Easton. I can't spell Easton. More semi-editing. I'm on the last chapter of this story. So, only one last stinking chapter to upload and schedule. And then I can go back to working on my work in progress. I had a beer earlier with dinner, so right now I'm having a peach flavored sparkling water. Hydrates and tastes good. Yeah, it's really good. And it was cheap. It was really cheap at the store. I was expecting it not to be as good as it is, but it's good. Oh, let's try here. Blue gemmed cufflinks marking him as hers. He he wore them without fail, has worn them without fail each day since then. It was a beautiful and awe-inspiring thing. That had down to see how the community that had been downtrodden from recent events become lively again. Became that had been It was a beautiful and awe-inspiring thing to see how the community that had been downtrodden from recent events became lively again under Rhea's guidance. When the title ceremony was held, the people of the barony applauded as Rhea was bequeathed the signet ring of the barony and the medallion of rank by the last baron who was helped to her side. At dinner that night, Easton couldn't help but speak. You are truly magnificent, Rhea. Ah, comma. I was like trying to figure out why it was. It's still having yellow. Oh, okay. I'll do that. That night at dinner, Easton still doesn't like me. That night at dinner, Easton hmm, later at dinner, Easton couldn't help but speak. That's better. That is taken care of. But it feels a little off, doesn't it? Later at dinner. Yeah. I can't remember what the original was. Her multitasking mind was always thinking about how to rebuild. No, I want better. Sometimes it tells me not to have a word, and I'm like, no, I actually want that word there. How to better rebuild the barony. Okay, thank you. Later that night at, oh, at dinner. Okay, there we go. Thanks for the help. Some of these rewordings are hard. Wishing to make it even better than it once was, Easton would bring her tea, kiss her temple as she worked at her desk. She would glance up and look him in the eye, her nose wrinkling. What is it? Spread out, and yet there's not one day. Okay, and so what I should be doing. Sought to help her in any way he could, helping her get used to his new reality, making sure that everything that he had, that the, making sure that the Baron, late, no, not late Baron, making sure her father had, making sure he had everything he needed. He doesn't like Wint either. Helping her father get used to his new reality, making sure he had everything he needed. Easton went on smaller errands while Rhea's secretaries were busy with other things. That feels like a redundant sentence. I'm thinking of taking it out. Oh, it's a list. I get it. Uh, helping, making sure he had everything he needed. He would also go, he would go on small errands while he kept himself busy helping her in any way he that makes sense. One evening we paused in. Thank you, I see everything you do for me, for my father, for the barony. I'm only doing what I can. I know. She looked into his eyes. I know it's hard for you, and yet you put forth so much effort. Rhea stood on her tiptoes and kissed Easton on the cheek. Thank you, Easton. Peach. And only could nod in return. It doesn't like me. Oh, the list. Thank you. Like, thank you for your effort. Well, I wanted it to be like she stood up, like paused, and then stood up on her tiptoes and then kissed him on the cheek and then whispered, "Thank you, Easton." That's what I was trying to like illustrate. Oh, so just new line it? Okay. Rhea was often busy. She never failed. Okay, that makes sense. And that way it's not all smushed together. Although Rhea was often busy, she never failed to acknowledge his presence, just as he let their hands trail each other or gave lingering kisses upon her forehead. That sounds like she has multiple foreheads, not one forehead. Well, they haven't actually had a kiss on the lips yet. Like they keep on getting interrupted, so I didn't want to. If I say just lingering kisses, then that will like connotate a kiss on the lips. So, so maybe make or a separate sentence. Okay, I did that. Rhea always looked him in the eye, and her thoughts were open and clear with her care for him. Okay, good to know. I will try to keep an eye out for that. Easton couldn't get enough of Rhea, her presence, her mind, and her very being. He found yeah, sometimes Graham really is wrong. He found himself increasingly aware that he never wished to part from her. She was his future. He couldn't think of anyone else or anything else he'd wish to be. Any. That sounds weird. He couldn't think of anyone else. Anyone else he'd wish to be near. That sounds like he's doing something else. To be near, except being by her side. He couldn't think of anyone else he'd wish to be near except. Oh no. Couldn't think of anything else he'd wish to be doing other than being. This is probably making it more awkward. Being by her side. Yeah. He couldn't think of anything else he'd wish to be doing other than being by her side. Okay, I'll do that. He couldn't think of anything else he'd wish he'd. Couldn't think of. Thank you. I was like something. Couldn't think of anything of any place he would rather be than by her side. Yeah, that sounds so much better than what I had. I don't know why I was hitting a wall so much with that sentence. He found her to be an ever-fixed mark upon his heart and mind, one he never wished to be. Thing, because it's vague. Okay. As Easton gazed at the woman before him, he found her to be an ever-fixed mark upon his heart. Upon his heart I don't have to put own there. His heart and mind. One he never wished to be without. I love you. Silence was all that met him. No voice answered his declaration. No thought passed into his mind. And Easton couldn't help the overwhelming fear, a fear that she didn't feel the same. A fear that he'd be alone in his labyrinth of thoughts again, alone in a selfish pursuit for some sort of happiness he could never find without her. Ever fixed. Too poetic? Ever present? Okay. Okay. Thanks for the feedback. This always helps. Oh, it doesn't like that. Okay. I'm that's a problem I've had in the past is I get a little too Shakespearean. But I do want to like ease of readability, so I understand if ever present is better. I did want that moment to be a bit poetic, but I don't want it to be like take people out of the moment either. Who found her to be an ever present mark upon his heart and mind. I think I'm going to put it back to fixed. It just, I don't know. It feels more powerful for some reason. Ever fixed mark upon his heart and mind. But I know what you're saying. I get it. Small sky ship. Only then remembering how he had often gone jealous of her flying the skies with her sky beast, wishing he could be by her side. Rhea turned toward him, her gaze matching his, a blinding smile on her lips. I love you too. His eyes widened as he heard her thought she had projected into his own, her plump lips had not moved. Her plump lips had not moved. He stood unmoving for a moment. She loved him. The tug of his cravat, and before their is the tune. It's her thought, so he's hearing the thought. He's a mind reader, and that's why he hasn't always been able to read all her thoughts. They're kind of like um it's kind of something that develops throughout the story, kind of her becoming more open to him, and so he can read her thoughts more. But he said I love you, and then she hadn't said anything. Yeah. So she says it first in her mind, projecting it into his thoughts, and then um, says it out loud. Well, you're jumping in just at the end, at the last chapter, so that's understandable. Thought she had projected into his own. Oops. Let's begin our happily ever after. This was my first foray into like romance, so it was a bit nerve-wracking when I first tried, because I didn't know if it would be too cheesy or that kind of thing. Yeah, it is hard to do. Last chapter scheduled on tapas. Well, he had to be trained by his grandparents to how to use it properly, and by properly I mean not being overwhelmed by thoughts, and like how to slowly kind of like section them off kind of from his brain, like kind of shut each brave brain wavelength like down, like kind of like being in a crowded room and just slowly kind of like I'm explaining it horribly. Yeah, it can, especially since she talks to her AI on occasion, but that's like also cross thoughts that he occasionally. Well, he's never actually got a cross thought. She know he that's partly why he couldn't hear her thoughts for a while. It was because she was talking to her AI and he couldn't hear when she was having a conversation that way. Yeah, that's why I when she has thoughts, I have it in italics, and it's like thoughts that she's either thinking to her AI or it's thoughts that he's reading. So, that way there wouldn't be I was hoping that there would be less confusion that way. But I suppose we shall see. Excuse me. And my last one was August 16th. Three a.m. But her red thoughts are also in italics. Hmm. Whenever she's thinking and it's from his point of view and it's in italics, it's just what he reads. So, since it's not from her point of view, there's not like the italics there. It's just italics of him reading her thoughts. And then I always have like his reaction to her thoughts. And then, um, yes, I have a battle plan. Okay, I have finished this. That is crazy. And now I can edit this series and mark as completed because it will show me. I got 6 likes? When did I get 6 likes? No, 4 likes? Where's the other 2 likes from? I'm very confused. A little confused by these stats. I might have to go into my phone to figure that. Let me see. Activity. Whoa! I suddenly got a whole bunch of likes on my tapas on Villainous from the Stars, which was the one that you came in helping me with first time. That's crazy. Okay, that makes me really happy. Marcus. Yay! That just makes my day. I've had a lot of things that made my day today. Okay. Well, I feel good about that. I'm going to go ahead and click out of there and click out of here. And then I'm going to pull up here and pull up my other project. And see if I have had any inspiration to help me. I did have a kind of an idea for some conflict, but I don't know how much conflict it can actually give me. Oh, I should switch over to my Wallflower. There we go. How do I do my character arcs? That's, like for my main character, I kind of have their goals, their obstacles, wants, needs, and then I kind of figure out what kind of arc they have, and so then I figure that out. But you you know each of my different characters have different character arcs, and then that's like the character arc page, and then I also have this page, which is like their general physical description, background, habits, mannerisms, all that jazz. So that's kind of my pages. But this is just like a template that's in Scrivener, so yeah, on some of my projects I don't use it, but for this one I kind of just needed to. It helps a little bit for me, especially when I'm trying to figure out scenes, like, but yeah, I don't always use this template. I just decided to use it this time because I have so many side characters and supporting characters, and this is a very character driven story. So, well, to be to perfectly honest, most of my stories are very character driven, but this one's another one that's very character driven. Okay, what was I thinking of happening? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pull up the scary outline. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Behave yourself, screen. Okay. And I'm going to pull up my documents and my originals, Mirror Twin, and Wallflower serial outline. The scary, the scary outline. um, oh, where I had her as both an introvert and an extrovert. Yeah. Well, I kind of felt like at the beginning she's definitely an introvert, and as she kind of grows, she becomes a little bit more of an extrovert. on Flower Path, I had multiple person. That sounds weird. Multiple personality types, not multiple personalities, um, on several of my characters. It was like what they are in private and then what they are in like in public. So that was an interesting thing. I'm still kind of brainstorming arc 2, but I kind of came up with this idea because I've been researching the private public thing is really interesting. Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like a lot of people are like that sometimes, you know. Um, it's kind of like the what we show the world versus what we show just to those that we care about. And I think that's why like when you think of the stereotypes of a personality type, they don't always align because they might act differently. That's what I look for when I read. I need the MC to lie to themselves. That makes me root for them being truthful in the end. Yeah. I definitely have like I've definitely been trying to figure out like the lie that she tells herself. At first I was kind of having a moment like earlier like where I was kind of feeling like is this I was cuz this is such a different novel than I normally write, and so I was just kind of feeling out of my depth a little bit, and then I just remembered I was like why am I writing this in the first place? And then also I remembered it's because it's something I'd want to read. And then second of all, the character is an empath, and um, I've always had felt overwhelmed with when I've been a very empathetic person all my life, and it can be very overwhelming. And so I figured there's other people like that out in the world too, and they probably go through things where they're not sure whether to share their lives with multiple people. Like it's scary to like open themselves up to more people when they like soak in emotions so much. And so I thought it would be a personal touch being able to like hack into the character was from my personal experience, which helps because we don't want to like write fan fictions of our own lives, but we want to still occasionally kind of apply certain lessons that we've learned and little bits of ourselves here and there. Yeah, my character hence the Wallflower title. Who scoops your hero from darkness? Um, it's kind of her friends. They're very supportive and that kind of thing. And later on, it's oh, I don't see it in the outline. It's kind of all over the place right now, honestly. This is as organized as I'm like trying to be more organized, and I have like notes everywhere. Um, but like for instance, there's like a reveal that happens where she has to use her empath abilities in where is it? In episode 16, and someone close to her. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. If I have, I don't want to get overwhelmed or like overstimulated by too much organization, but this is like the most organization I've ever had on a project before, and so it's a little overwhelming. Um, so I'm just trying to take it a step at a time, and when I get overwhelmed, go and read something. The idea that I had was, what if someone employee films Hannah without her permission, becomes popular on social media, which brings in fans and anti-fans, which is a whole realm of conflict. But I don't know how long I can actually string that conflict around. I've read one of the people do I follow him? It's one of the people I watched on TikTok. He was saying that he does kind of like a gradual like outline where in the beginning in act 1 he's like very like on top of like scene by scene, and then as he gets in act 2 it gets a little bit more spread out, and I'm kind of wondering if that's something I need to do, like just write act 1 and then see where how the characters have developed and that kind of thing, and then figure out act 2. But I really, really wanted to get as much outlined of this as I could this time around. Sorry. It mistook your word. I only anchor the climax and act 1 up it. Yeah. What I'm kind of hitting with my problem with act 2 is I know in general what needs to happen, like some general conflict, but I'm like not sure how it kind of snowballs to that conflict, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of trying to find like little conflict. Whoops, what did I do? I clicked something and it scared me. Okay. I trying to find. It's called earning the emotional moment. That's true. This particular outline is for specifically like a long book, so like for a web serial. So, which is what I'm trying to write on this project. I'm trying to write one that's a bit longer than my other works. Um, I don't know how long it's actually going to end up being, but it's definitely going to be 3 acts. Um, so I'm just, and yes, I know this is miscounted. I had to insert a scene up here due to reasons. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so I'm trying to find what the little wins or like the little things that happen rising up to the different problems. Because I can't definitely, I have this overarching like problem that's kind of like getting worse and worse in the background, and this is kind of the arc that sets up um, it getting really bad in the background because of cause and effect situations. And then the third arc is like a little bit more focused on the romance. But there's like this ominous thing going on in the background that will finally reach a final climax. So that's the goal for this one. But like I said, it's kind of terrifying because it's like my first time like actively trying to make it longer, and thus doing a outline that is a 3-act setup for specifically web serials. Um, I don't think this is a multiple point of view. Yeah, I am doing subplots. As you can see, these are like the main kind of like minor subplots that are going on. And then there's like the long arcs on this and it's complicated. I don't think I didn't think I was going to do a multiple point of view, but um like not in the traditional sense. Looks like to me like you are. Uh, I'm definitely gonna have things that you see like off camera essentially, like but it's not necessarily strictly gonna be from those people's point of views. It's gonna be more like from an omnit omnipresent omniscient um I can't think of the it's the OMN omniscient. Yes. Um but I purposely am trying something that's out of my comfort zone. So uh that's I'm trying something new. Cuz this is like a genre I don't normally do either. I'm just making it hard for myself. It's like the most modern I've gotten close to, even though it's set on another planet. Um, that kind of thing. You're like, but this is gonna be so fun for me to see you run into the brick walls. Yes, because it will all be documented for everyone, and it'll be also put on YouTube so that everyone can watch me run into these walls. But I'm hoping it encourages someone else, like someone else that's, trying to do something out of their comfort zone and to like keep trying, not to give up. And I think, yeah, essentially. I should have figured that out completely, but it's mostly focused on Hannah, but then there's, like I said, like it's still like a almost I do that word. You'll soon find out that your character has to be oneness. I will allow it, even though the acronym has something in it. I'll allow it. Um, yeah. I mean, I guess she's a little nosy because she has the empathy skill, and she is with her food. She uh she tries to like give you what you need when you come to her restaurant. So she like imparts the emotion that you're missing that day. So it is a little bit presumptuous, I suppose. By the way, I suggest you make your MC have cooking abilities. Funny you should say that because one of the plot points for later on that my husband came up with was that somehow the MC gets tech from the big company that the male lead has. And it's like kind of like where someone stole it and then accidentally she got it somehow. And so she has this technology and we were like cooking mechanism question mark. So that was like a possible point for later on that we had. I know, I'm just making it hard for myself. True. I mean, part of it is that you're supposed to see like kind of through her eyes like the the mysteries are happening and that kind of thing, and then you just get little snippets, little excuse me, a little like snippets of like the mystery that she doesn't see off to the side. Okay, so I'm thinking in this chapter we are going to have I think I am going to have the anti-fan things. I don't like I mean, I'll read novels that have the anti-fan situation, but I I think it should just be like a minor thing that happens, not like a major thing that happens. Oops. Employee films Hannah becomes goes viral. Games gains fans and anti-fans. That would be employee films. It goes viral. And soon the restaurant. I can't ever spell restaurant. See, I misspelled it. Restaurant. It goes viral and soon the restaurant is flooded with curious fans of the video. As more and more people eat food and it gets recognition from news articles. The restaurant gains anti-fans who cause trouble at the place. Because I'm not going to spell restaurant again. I'm going to fail. Okay, so that's happening there. Meanwhile, what is happening? I feel like I haven't had the male lead come in enough. You're just having so much fun with this. Because you got a taste of like how my other stories are, and then you see this one and you're like, wow, what's she doing? What's going on there? What did she get herself into? And see, I couldn't just do a modern contemporary romance. No, I could not because that would be boring to me. So I had to make sure that was a solar punk world in the set in the far future of a separate planet. Because I have to have some sort of sci-fi or fantasy element to it, or else I I get bored. But I also have the bad mistake of making things more difficult or like more complicated. But I think you're planning too much. It's really good training, but I think you're planning too much. Like I should just start writing arc 1 and then act 1 and then just see where it takes me kind of situation. I've been kind of thinking that maybe I should do that too. Oh, just plan the climactic moments? Hmm. And not the small ones. That might be a good idea. Thankfully, I think I know what I need for since I'm on a roll now. I think. Okay. No worries then. Normally I would know the big moments, but somehow I feel like I kind of know the big moments, but I also kind of like need to know how they get there to know where to put them. And so that's what's causing me to do this. Okay. Mob mentality, getting people getting obsessed with food. I actually tried to get a friend to do big moments too, but he found it overwhelming. I did too, but I like punishment, so I got used to it. People get obsessed with food, obsession of food, which then leads to obsession of Hannah. And you might think the obsession arc doesn't work in this world, but it's a mania world, so because I can't help myself, which just means there's heightened emotion and in this world. Yes, I think that's part of like I know in general what I want to happen, but because I don't have those like parts, I just have a general idea. Oh, thank you. It's definitely helping me realize what kind of things I need in the world for it to work and that kind of thing. Excuse me. That's the problem with having bubbly. It makes you all burpy. Oh, there went my coaster. But the problem, of course, is when you change your mind, then it's like a domino. Yeah. I kind of feel like once I start writing, things are going to get interesting. And by interesting, I mean terrifying and petrifying, but where like basically everything I put here is just like a guideline, and like once I start writing, it's gonna be interesting. Like when someone follows, I do have an alert. It's been going off for other people that have been following. I had at one point where it didn't go off, but yeah, it's like a little. I changed the sound and everything, so it's like a firework now. So, yep. Because I think what I had it before was like too subtle of a sound. It like went too well with my music, and then also it's just not enough of a thing to catch my the corner of my eye. Rich folks asking, threatening for her to become their private chef. Chef. Stalking ensues. Episode 27. So I hope the fireworks are better now. Which I think they are, because I have been catching everyone that follows. So that's good. Since I've done it. Oh, I should probably change my thing. Editing, scheduling, uploads, and now it's also and outlining. Now I'm outlining. Take away, edit with me, and outline with me. Add. Done. And then we have episode 7 where someone decides obstacle introduction. What? Some of this confuses me. There was an obstacle introduction. Oh, there was over here. And then it was further apart last time. Oh, because this is the midpoint. Oh. Need to make sure the midpoint is midpointy. She just keeps on getting kidnapped, I swear. Um, hmm, hmm, hmm. At this point, I have an idea. Yeah, but I don't have him kidnap her until like arc 3 because he's kind of like the main antagonist is kind of working from the shadows. If you get my drift, he's just kind of like disposing of people that annoy him and also that encroach on his territory. But I feel like she always gets kidnapped. I feel like I need to have something else happen to her here. I don't know what that stands for. Now I have to look that up. Oh, big bad evil guy. I learn things every day. Yeah. The big bad evil guy is okay. Yeah. He's definitely cuz he's very strategic and um he doesn't leave any witnesses or evidence or anything. Right. I remember that. I went through a phase. I'm just thinking that if I have like each time there's a climax she gets kidnapped, I just kind of feel like that's a bit repetitive. Of course, it could be kind of a run-on kind of like hilarity, almost like a run-on joke. That's true. Like there is the rule of 3 of like doing something 3 times to kind of like impress upon a reader, like how she gets kidnapped or why she gets kidnapped. Yeah, the first time she gets kidnapped is not due to her gift. It's due to money. Because some or who gets kidnapped, you know. I could go from that angle if one of her workmates gets kidnapped instead of her. But I feel like if someone's been stalking her for a while, they would not kidnap the wrong person because that seems redundant. Unless they sent Goonies after them and they didn't know what the person looked like. But I feel like Goonies would have a photograph or something. So that's true. Bad guys can be stupid. That is true. Hmm. Well, it's kidnapping because of um a threatening threatening voicemail. Do they have voicemails in the future? Yeah, I think they would because they still have some way of communication. Voicemail. I'm just gonna put voicemail for now. And then the wrong. Then Amy gets kidnapped instead. I don't know if that would work though. I mean, it would have her working with her cousin more, the detective, but they would probably maybe try to just pay off Amy. They kidnap the wrong person. Rich people big cray cray. Who knows? Except it's third person point of view, yeah. Threatening voicemail. Kidnapping gone wrong. I don't know what that means yet. I just know that it went wrong. Somehow. Some way. It went wrong. Threatening voicemail. Kidnapping gone wrong. Need to figure out how it went wrong. Don't mind me as I try to hash this out. Act 2 is hard. It is hard to do Act 2, man. It's like Act 3, you kind of already know where like your characters are gonna end up usually, and so, but it's like that midpoint. It's just like, yeah, basically. Obstacle introduction. Ooh, maybe there's two kidnappings that happen. Like, two separate people think that they got the right person and they don't. I don't know if that would work out. Um, Kidnapping. This time they get, I don't know. But I'm worried about Amy if, hmm. But what will I have here at the midpoint? Might have to do another back to the drawing board situation. Rename the story the kidnappings. I know. But it's a midpoint, so it has to be good. Well, midpoint ideas. Midpoint ideas. Forms alliance. Rejects. Rapunzel. Character must shed something. A belief, a love, a person, a security blanket, and grasp hold of something truer, scarier, stronger. They must recalibrate. This new thing they have discovered will fuel him for the next leg of their journey. Huh. The inciting incident reflects the midpoint. What is the inciting incident? So, the midpoint is commonly known as the point of no return. It's also known as the point where the MC has made a mistake, but the sidekick has helped them grow past it. So the MC's failed and doesn't want to try again. The sidekick pushes the MC to try again. The next time the MC fails, the MC remembers the midpoint and won't wallow in depression. Oh my gosh, do I have to kill someone off? That would be tragic. No, that would be mean. I don't want to kill someone. That would be mean. I don't know. The mentor usually dies here. Hmm. I could have Grant die here. That would cause a whole host of problems. Because I'm pretty sure he left his inheritance to her. So, well, this is kind of like a web serial, so it's like a little harder because um, it's like I'm kind of combining a little bit of like this, romancing the beat, and then this part here, the save the cat. Because it's kind of like a overarching kind of story of her being. I'm doing the save the cat 3-act structure, um, just because the romance isn't like the main focus of the story. It's more like Hana's journey. Maybe Amy is injured. I thought the inciting incident was her coming through the portal, like the mirror dimension, to this new life. So like the last time, like towards during the disaster crisis part, she ends up telling her parents and she's thrown out of her house. So midpoint's a reflection. Okay. Well, she switched places with her mirror twin. It's not really a quest that she went on, but it's more like she decided to have a new life because her previous one she was oh, she wanted a life where she wouldn't be manipulated to use her gift. She wanted instead one where she could use her gift to heal others rather than manipulate them. No, she finds the mirror and she sees her mirror twin in it, and they switch places, and they kind of regress back to like significant points in their life. Hmm. Ah. Because I was kind of thinking how I was thinking of her arc was like more a transformational arc where um, she goes from being scared of everyone and everything to like letting, I'm reading off my thing, to everything to learning to open herself up and let people in. But she also um, gets better with her culinary skills too and learns that she can impart emotions to others without manipulating them, but instead like making them feel better and kind of heal them through food. Ah, but she gets like the lie she tells herself is that she doesn't want to be noticed, and so she goes about her life trying to live quietly because to her being noticed just means you'll be used and then thrown away. Hmm. I could make it where she didn't really have a choice after she found the mirror. Did I put that in my character profile? So maybe I need to make sure that she didn't wish to switch places with someone who was used just like she was. Just like she was. But once touching the mirror, you can't go back. Yeah, it's basically once you find the mirror and then you touch it, then you're because it has to be some sort of parallel. So it has to be like a transformative experience. I was kind of thinking she could be met with a similar um I've kind of always had in the lore that once you switch, you can't switch back. But essentially, she came across the mirror, and once she touched it, it was like she made the connection and she switched with her doppelganger. Variations of traveling. Mm-mm. So maybe she's taken to another country away from everything she knows. Taken to Mordor, make it bigger. Um, another planet. I'm just not sure how I'd come back to the plot that I had before if I do that. I was thinking another planet. Question mark. Um, like I don't want it to be another dimension. So, because I want her to stay in the dimension she's in, unless she's already in the Sky City, underground city, underground city. Hmm. Hmm. Where is she taken? Taken to. You need to roll out like 30 of them. when you realize you haven't figured out how big your world is yet when you're like blinking out where to send them. Um, I already said another planet. Um, mm, yeah, she's a chef. I thought ridiculously she could be sent back in time, but I don't know how that would work out. It's complicated. I mean, it could make give her connections to like say the male lead down the line if she like meets him in like previously or something. I don't know. Because then I do like the whole. He is 10 years older than her, so if she goes back in time 10 years and then hmm, maybe it's like a time limited thing, or maybe she has to hmm, forward or backward. Hmm, time question mark. um, because I want her to definitely have that like not knowing what to do with herself feeling. Hmm. Or it could even be before he was born, because that way it was before she was born. Underwater city. If you do time travel, you have to build a new world twice. Yeah, a city has constraints. Like what she's taken to an underground city or underwater city, and then she's shot with something, and that she's sent back in time in the underwater city. Um, um, then I have to come up with characters she meets. Then, but I could almost have it where like it's time set. So like maybe they had like things that were supposed to freeze someone in time or something, and instead it sent her back. I don't know. Right. I was just going off of the if she was taken to like an underwater city, and then if she was shot with something that was like supposed to freeze her in time for like a certain amount of time, but instead sent her back in time. She doesn't know that it's like for only a certain amount of time that she's stuck there, so she thinks she has to make a whole new life like she did the first time. But I don't know if that's too much or if that would work as a midpoint, like her trying to find her way, making a new life in this underground city. Water City? Isn't a litmus test what you do with water? Litmus test. Decisively indicative test. Compare it with another idea. Well, my first idea was if she goes back in time, she just goes back in time at the Sky City and then have it connect with the male lead somehow, like she meets him when he was her age or something. Yeah, it does. Even though the underwater city sounded really cool, I think it would be just a lot to do for like almost like a couple episodes there, like a not a break episode, but like and then it also connects. I do like the time travel one. That's why I was still thinking of doing the time travel. I just would connect it to the past somehow. That would be severely awkward, especially since the love interest father is still alive and married to his mom. So, yes, it would. Um, I did think maybe instead of meeting him, she could be somehow like how his parents got together, like somehow like I don't know, with the bridge or something. Yes, the ideas are coming. Okay, let me write in over here. Um, just midpoint needs to reflect inciting incident. Hello, Lotus. Volume was 2%. I don't know what's going on with my audio lately because I keep on putting like if I put it too high, then it's too loud for some people. Right. So somehow kill off Grant. He's not really her mentor, but he's kind of like her benefactor. And then in a um, yeah, just like in a familial way. Um, so maybe Grant is injured instead, hospitalized, utilized. And maybe this is where the tech comes in. Like the future tech that I was thinking about where she accidentally well, how would that work? It dwindle away. Well, I was thinking the first kidnapping went wrong, and initially I had one of her employees get hurt, but I was like, what happens if it was Grant that got injured or hospitalized instead? Um, and then I was thinking I could combine idea of where there was some stolen tech from the male leads company, and maybe it was experimental time travel, and then focus on injured, not hospitalized. Okay, I'll just put that there. And then she activates the experimental technology and is sent back in time. And maybe like he went to go grab her or like before she like popped away. And this is kind of graphic, but like lost an arm or something. Like I'm not into Harry Potter, but I know what like apparating is. Maybe like a simple like flinching situation happens. Focus on the conflict, right? Yeah. She probably fails because I don't know. Like her food can't actually heal people. It just can like heal like emotionally, not like healing. So it's not like she can heal him if he's injured. So no kidnapping. Instead, um, Hannah tries to heal Grant using her empathy. Fails. I don't know why it got that. Because she never took her training seriously or something. Emotional hiccup is what caused her to fail. She retreats into herself, isolating herself, blaming herself. Like, could her emotional hiccup being like her trying to heal him with her empathy instead of like being more on top of like getting him to like the emergency room? internal hiccup. Well, she was blaming herself already, and so she got overwhelmed by feeling his pain, and then okay. Hmm. Her false belief is that it's better to like be unnoticed. Mhm. And she got noticed, and that's what led to him dying, getting hurt. Hmm. She could have eased his pain, but I don't know if she could have actually healed him with her empathy, though. It's like she gets performance anxiety almost. Okay. So then did we decide she doesn't actually try to heal him with her empathy? And that's what leads her to thinking she could have saved him if she did? Because we decided, oh, she does it too late. Hmm. She's the only one that has an ability, though, in this world. She came from a world with abilities and then came into a world that didn't have abilities. So that's partly why she doesn't want to be noticed. Okay, it could be a doctor. Okay. Okay. Conscious. Right. Going on a walk. Um, Eat my favorite food. Um, Watch something funny. Um, Read something encouraging. I kind of need someone to actually pick me up and like kind of like help me like actually function. And then E29. She retreats, isolates, self. Yeah, I can see that. Like good communication and like also just really unselfish, like unconditional love and care. Yeah, I do. Um, I have my sidekicks. I have someone that she lives with that's like like one of her best friends, and I also have another best friend. At this point, the male lead hasn't gone to know her enough to be there for her. I think it would be a combination. I feel like Scarlett would have one option. I feel like Scarlett would do all the wrong things, like lovingly, but like not, because she's kind of like a tsundere a little bit. Like she'd say all the wrong things, but like trying to encourage her to get out of bed. And then Liam would just like be the one that's all wrong. Place of love, tsundere. And then Liam comes. Okay. Maybe then it was her fault. Well, Scarlet was Scarlet is like um is Hannah's age, and Grant was if you being just loves him like a grandfather, then that works. But Grant was like an elderly man, so helps her get up. That's true. I'll make a note of that. Establish that Grant and Scarlet got close familiarly as well. Viewed her like he does. Yeah. He has family, but they're kind of like estranged family. That was actually the first obstacle that I had happen in Arc 1 is like where the family gets, that's when Hannah gets kidnapped the first time. Yeah, that works. Thank you for all your help. Yeah, I need to decide that. Well, I did say that he like tries to protect Hana when she was about to get kidnapped, and it's like a kidnapping arise, and they hurt him when maybe he gets no, because there's not really cars specifics, right? Yeah, right. Right. Definitely needs to show off the solar punk world. I was like, they pushed him off the Sky City, but then, but then, how would she get to him easily? Push him off a tower. Okay. Question mark. Pushed off tower. Lands on landing 30 floors down. Question mark. I haven't figured it out all yet. Has to be cool. Got it. World. Hmm. True. I'm trying to think of what their modes of transportation is in a solar punk world. I was like, teleporter? But then I'm like, what happens if he that's how he like it goes back to him getting like half skyways is good. Skyways is good. So a sky platform, kind of like a metro, but in the sky. Literally fighting them on top of a moving train. You just need a lot of ideas here, so you can throw 90% of them away. Yeah. Um, I'm blanking out. Right. I did like the helipad option, but I was trying to think of like flying car pad instead. Um, that it's up high, and also I'm always scared of those scenes in movies where like someone's head goes into the thingabobbers. That terrifies me. I'm always like closing my eyes when that happens. Hmm. Hover ship pad. Hover copter. Oh, fighting on hovercopter. And he falls onto the helipad. You're having fun with this, aren't you? It's usually some kind of rope, right? What makes the hovercopter stay above the helipad? Yeah, I think so. So now we have to think about why is the hovercopter trying to escape and why is Grant fighting on it? You know what? You have a cool moment. It literally doesn't matter what it is. I was kind of thinking that he's jumped onto it maybe because they had like she was like already captured by them and then he had seen. He's a bad AA, bad ASS grandpa. um, I had someone like stalking her. Um, I hadn't decided if it was a woman or a man. Just that someone was stalking her because they got obsessed with the food and then got obsessed with her. And she's been like getting threatening voicemails and that kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know where he got this harpoon coming from, but maybe it's just hanging out on the. There's no bad ideas. Well, I was thinking he just jumped on it after it started hovering off the platform. He first tries like talking the like being smooth, but then like they kind of pull weapons on. I think it would be stupid to pull it on him or on Hannah, but you said to go ahead and make stupid bad guys, or just dumb. So they pull it on her, and then fighting on helicopter. Brackets tries to talk them out of it. They pull weapon on Hannah. Grant shields her. Gets false. I've kind of had her do that in previous ones, but I guess I could still have her do something similar. Um, Manipulates bad guys. So he and then manipulates craft driver to land. You're just assuming he's Batman at this point. I mean, he's a rich old dude that I haven't really gone further than that. That he's just, yeah. I haven't developed Grant as much. As you can see, I don't have a Grant um, char- character thingy on the left hand there. Yes, I will. Excuse me. Where did my duplicate go? It's hiding from me. Where is it going? It's like something's weird's happening. Where is my... Oh, something weird happened. What's going on? Liam, Scarlet. Then, nope. Oh wait, I meant to do that. Never mind. Alan, Ryder, Kenzo, Koki, Fern, Amy. Where is my... Oh, that's where it went. There we go. It's being... Okay. Now we have Grant. And then we also have character arc, duplicate, and put that on Grant. Or or he has to choose the true love of justice. So what does Grant believe that will make him happy that isn't true? I'm not sure. But I know that he looks like Sean Connery. That's I I do know that. Grant character arc. Let me pull up my Sean Connery. There we go. I literally have two images in Grant's um, pin board. I really haven't developed him at all. So he's a CEO. He helps gain confidence in her ability. Chef and empath. And empath. Because he finds out later. That would make sense why he's like so fit. CEO of mercenary group about to retire. I would say his age was at the start 70. Is that too old? Should I do 65? Sky City. Supporting goal. Haven't figured out any of these. CEO of mercenary group about hoping to retire soon. Right. Maybe he wanted to help like troubled youth, like have a way like kids that grew up maybe on the rough side, like having an outlet rather than turning to crime, they could turn to mercenary. I don't know. You had come up with so many good ideas because of his father. Okay. Father was career soldier. Always wanted to be one. The slaughter got caught selling secrets. Dream. Like he still wants what he wanted for becoming a soldier. Like he wants to keep the country safe. Um, mm. Yeah, that's why I kind of rephrased a couple of things. That's why I'm also putting in the sidebar. It's like ideas. I think on the hour of 3 hours, I'm gonna finish up for tonight. It's getting a bit late where I am. And yet it's still hot. I'll have to figure out what I want after that. Hmm. Father or son. Hmm. That's like almost a whole book just for grants. Welcome to subplots. Yep. Mhm. Which is, how do we do that? Ow. Started getting a headache again. Oh, it's more like a migraine. Yep, winding down time. I think I'm gonna head out. I don't know if Oracle is still streaming or not. She was streaming for a while beforehand, and I didn't see a couple of the other people are also had already been streaming for an hour, so I don't know if they're still streaming. Do you want me to send you over to be a raid later?